Hello, everybody, and welcome to the We Like Dota League Season 1 playoffs. I'm Brian Sabonier, and this evening we have the very first match of our best of three playoff series. And tonight we have Kappa Crusaders versus the Optimistic Gentlemen's Hunting Club, or OGHC for short. Yeah, I'm casting solo tonight, so it's just going to be me. I hope you get tired of hearing my voice, or I hope you don't get tired of hearing my voice. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and start talking about the draft here. So, Kappa Crusaders did opt to, or excuse me, OGHC opted to draft second. So that gave Kappa Crusaders the first pick Centaur War Runner, and OGHC picked the Silencer and Death Prophet, and then Kappa picked the Viper, as you can see. So yeah, I really like the Centaur and Viper picks. Very heroes that are very easy to execute on, and scale somewhat well into the late game. Definitely mid-game teamfight-oriented heroes, specifically with the Centaur and the Viper, of course. The only problem with Viper is that he tends to get kited around a little bit and doesn't have a ton of escape mechanisms, or any at all. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how OGHC are able to maybe capitalize on that weakness. And I do like the Silencer and Death Prophet. Death Prophet has been, even after, I think she's gotten 3 nerfs since 6.82 hit, has still been a very high pick on all teams' lists, even at the lower skill bracket, and of course in the pro scene as well, has been getting picked up quite a bit. And Silencer, a very good hero in his own right. You can run him as a core or as a support. I kind of like to see him in that support / potentially scaling into a core in the late game semi-carry kind of role. Just a pain in the butt to lane against with the Curse of the Silent and the Last Word. And of course the Glaives of Wisdom help him to scale really well into the late game just by stacking up Intellect. And of course that Global Silence as well is just a great team fight ability. And then if you pick up the Ag Scepter, of course, it stacks some damage on top of that as well. So I do like to see the Silencer pick up. Big fan of him. And of course the Viper on the side of Kappa Crusaders, also a pain in the butt to lane against. Viper should either, assuming he doesn't get ganked or messed around with, which is kind of his weakness in lane, assuming none of that happens, Viper should either win or not lose his lane, I guess is the way that I'll put that. Is quite the dominant laner with the poison sting and the what's his passive called that I like, his corrosive skin, and of course the nether toxin helps the last hit a bit. And Centaur Warrunner is probably one of the best offlaners in the game as well. Just benefits so much from experience. Skywrath Mage. And okay, we see the Skywrath Mage pick up on the side of Kappa Crusaders. I gotta be thinking, we haven't seen the Faceless Void banned out. They might go for a Faceless Void pickup. But Skywrath Mage does do just fine without the Faceless Void pick. So they do ban out the Darkseer. I was thinking maybe there might be a Darkseer pick coming up, but won't see that either. So it will be interesting to see what they pick up to synergize with the Skywrath Mage. And speaking of offlaners, I do like to see this Bristleback pick on the side of the OGHC. Another strong offlaner who, assuming you can get your positioning correct and all that, just has a ton of sustain and tanks up quite well once he starts stacking up the Bristleback and Warpath stacks. So yeah, and also does a decent amount of damage. I thought Warpath stacked up armor, but I guess not. So yeah, it's just you're relying on that Bristleback passive for the damage reduction. And they go ahead and pick up the Sand King, which I think we have seen out of OGHC before. I would assume this will be a support Sand King, which Sand King's laning is a bit rough, but if you can get out of the laning phase alive, Sand King can just destroy in team fights, of course. Once he gets a Blink Dagger, you know, you can start channeling the Epicenter and then blink and then Burrow Strike in while just doing a ton of damage. And of course the Sandstorm. Once you get that level 2 Sandstorm, you can just really head into the jungle and start, just really start farming up some solo farm out of the jungle, which is always good, assuming you have an offlaner who can survive solo or any other solo laner. And we do see Kappa go for the Ogre Magi, which, if you listen to the We Like Dota podcast, of course you'll know that we're huge fans of the Ogre Magi. He has been made less RNG based in the past couple patches. His what is that? The multicast, of course, has been made less kind of RNG. You're a little bit more guaranteed to get good multicasts. But yeah, he just brings so much to the table with the Fire Blast and the Ignite and the Bloodlust. And once you get the Ag Scepter, if you're able to get Ag Scepter, he has the Unrefined Fire Blast, which costs 60% of your mana, so you'll always have mana for it, which is nice. So yeah, a lot of damage, a lot of stun potential from Ogre Magi. But yeah, do like him quite a bit. So it will be interesting to see what the last couple of picks here are for OGHC and Kappa. So we do see that last Faceless Void ban. They are... Looks like OGHC is somewhat terrified of the Faceless Void, which I don't think this is necessarily a good Faceless Void lineup for the side of Kappa, but again, if there's a hero that you know you don't play well against, you should definitely ban it. So don't blame him one bit in that regard. And we do see that Sven ban, so yeah, I think that would have been an okay pick for OGHC. I would expect them to pick some sort of ranged carry here. Well, really either ranged or melee, because Death Prophet and Silencer are both ranged. I guess it depends on whether the Silencer here is core or support.
5 seconds remaining.
So I would expect the Death Prophet will be mid with an offlane Bristleback, and then they might go for the tri-lane with the Silencer and the Sand King. They might make an okay tri-lane. Or maybe send the Sand King in the jungle after a certain point. Okay, we have the Phantom Assassin. I think that's an okay pick. Also a little RNG based thanks to the coup de grace. That's right, coup de grace, not coup de grace, as some people say. It's coup de grace, it's French. Yeah, I think that's an okay pick here. Yeah, I feel like I do like the PA. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the PA because I feel like she's just countered so easily with just buying one item. You know, you just farm up an MKB and you win, basically. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a matter of being able to either buy the correct items or keep up on pace with her.
10 seconds.
Okay, and we also have a Weaver last pick from Kappa Crusaders, so we might see a bit of a tri-lane here with the Skywrath Mage, Ogre, and Weaver. And then a Silencer, Sand King, Phantom Assassin tri-lane from the side of OGHC. But we shall see indeed. And just going to double check and make sure all of my sound options are correct. I didn't have them right for Dota TV. I apologize. Camera speed, move that down to 25. Move that down to, I think I have that at 10. I can never remember. But that looks about right. Boop. Alright, well. The replay isn't going to have my voice in it, so sorry. Sorry, folks. Sorry to those of you who are watching in Dota TV. Sorry about that. Okay. I'll go ahead and introduce OGHC. So on the Phantom Assassin, we do have Gannis. And we have Bunny on the Silencer. The Errant Pixel on the Sand King. And oh boy. We do have Centaur Warrunner coming in here checking out the rune. Looks like, okay, the Sand King did go ahead and pick that up, so there's that. We do have Field Studies on the mid lane Death Prophet with a really cool, I do like this set. That is my favorite hairpiece for Death Prophet. And we do have Physmo playing the Bristleback. So he has picked up quite a bit of regen, anticipating quite a bit of harassment. And on the side of Kappa Crusaders, we do have Eris Nex playing the Ogre Magi with Busby on the Weaver. P-Frog will be on the Viper, and we have Booker DeWitt on the Centaur Warrunner, and Dare on the Skywrath Mage. So I am kind of surprised to see, excuse me, I'm not surprised to see this tri-lane on the side of OGHC. Kind of surprised they're not going for the Weaver, Ogre, Skywrath tri-lane. So they're going for the classic 2-1-2, so we'll see how that goes ahead. See how that pays off for them. Goes ahead and pays off for them, whatever it is. Bunny has quite the fancy set here on the Silencer. And we do have the last word going down on the Skywrath Mage already, so that's going to be a tough matchup for Dare on the Skywrath Mage, because Silencer, with the Curse of the Silent and the last word, you're going to be wasting mana or being silenced or taking damage, or yeah, it's just going to be a rough matchup for him. Because with that, with the last, or no, excuse me, the Curse of the Silent, you take damage and lose mana until you cast a spell, so you're wasting mana regardless. And then with the last word, you either have to choose if you want to break the curse, break the last word debuff, by casting a spell and taking damage, or just letting it run out and taking the same amount of damage and being disarmed. So there is a bit of an interesting choice there. And I just really wish I could get these settings right. Sound device. What does sound device even mean? I don't know. That's just the pain. Okay, well, I'll get it right for match 2. So if you're watching in Dota TV, I guess watch the replay for my analysis. Quote-unquote analysis. So leading the CS charts right now, we do have Viper, who is beating Death Prophet 9-4, which is kind of to be expected because Viper just dominates whatever lane he's in. So I would expect to have some sort of a rotation. And this Centaur Warrunner is getting quite out of position here, and the last word does go down on the Skywrath Mage, but we do have Phantom Assassin getting the last hit on the Centaur Warrunner, and Skywrath Mage is getting quite low here. Ancient Seal is going to go down on the Sand King, while we do have a rotation back in from Centaur Warrunner, who's back from the grave. This Sand King barely alive with 50 HP. And yeah, that just kind of goes to show how powerful these tri-lanes can be. If you're not careful, you know, you step out of position and you're dead. So look out for that. And I do really feel like PA does need a good tri-lane to help secure farm. And oh no, PA overextending a little bit. Centaur Warrunner is going to come in with that double edge and do quite a bit of damage to PA, but she does limp away with about 80 HP. And we do have Field Studies on the Death Prophet bottling up an Illusion Rune. And let's see, Viper does not have a bottle. Which doesn't necessarily surprise me because, well, really neither of these heroes should be super great at bottle or rune control. And we are going to have Eris next on the Ogre Magi. Looks like he's going to go ahead and get a... He almost got the double pull. And we do have wards up for both teams. Oh, and Physmo eating a little bit of Fire Blast damage. He might go down here. Yep, Weaver just got the last right click there. Busby is... he was a little low there. He was down to about 100 HP. And I kind of feel like Field Studies is maybe prioritizing room control a little bit more than farm. Viper is kind of destroying him on farm right now. This is... Dang it. We missed a kill down in the bottom lane. Skywrath Mage getting that kill on Sand King. Curse of the Silent is going to hit too. Concussive Bolt will go ahead and hit Gannis on the Phantom Assassin. Physmo commenting on tower architecture. Last word is going to go down on Centaur Warrunner. He is taking quite a bit of damage here, but not going to quite kill him. He's going to harass him out of lane though. And we need Sand King to get back here so that PA can start farming up properly. Because this tri-lane, as much effort as they're dedicating to this tri-lane, PA only has 11 last hits compared to Centaur's 8, which isn't. Yeah, you're not. I feel like PA isn't really able to take advantage of the farm and the space that should have been created. So I do think the Centaur Skywrath combo are pretty good for a dual lane against the tri-lane because they can really kind of hold their own against the tri-lane. Really harass quite a bit. Concussive Bolt is going to hit PA as she is quite far back. Curse of the Silent will go down on Centaur Warrunner yet again. So that's just kind of a shame. I do feel like this dual lane is kind of shutting down PA's farm as she is kind of picking up the pace a little bit. But yeah, probably not where she needs to be. And Viper is just destroying Death Prophet when it comes to farm. 29-6, which is, it's not a pretty situation. So I would expect Kappa Crusaders to be looking pretty good coming out of the laning phase. Weaver also doing well. 22 CS compared to the Bristlebacks 3, which isn't necessarily super important, but is getting beat quite heavily in levels and XP. Bristleback is level 5 compared to the Weaver, who's level 7. And I thought for a second Viper may have been trying to set up a gank of some sort. We do have Ogre Magi and Skywrath Mage smoking up. We'll see if they're able to... I think they're probably going to try and gank mid. So here we go, folks. This is going to make for a interesting play here. Let's see if they're able to make anything happen. They are just hanging out at the Ancients here. I think they're just waiting for Death Prophet to move forward. I think she does smell something's coming. And oh boy, here we go. Fire Blast and all sorts of spells just being unloaded. And the Viper just starts to unload. Tons of Fire Blasts and Concussive Bolts and Arcane Bolts and Viper Strikes and everything. So Death Prophet does give up the Ghost of Viper, which brings our score to 1-4. And things are starting to look a little bit better for PA. She does have 22 CS compared to the Weaver, who's sitting at 27. So she is starting to recover quite a bit. And she does go ahead and blink in on the Centaur Warrunner here. I think he'll be able to get away no problem. Concussive Ball and the Arcane Seal will go down on the Sand King. And Sand King may have overextended a bit, but he'll be just fine. He was taking some tower hits there, and I was concerned for a little bit, but looks like he'll be just okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the graphs. Net worth favoring Kappa Crusaders as well as XP. So I feel like this might be a topic for the next podcast about how important the laning phase is, because I really feel like in the last couple somewhat competitive matches that I've played, they really just come down to whether you win or lose the lanes, really. And as predicted, this Sand King, once he does hit level 2, has started to jungle up and try and get up that Blink Dagger. But yeah, if you lose the laning phase real hard, it can be tough to recover from that, and yeah, just put you in such a good position to win the rest of the match. As the wards start to expire, we really only have OGHC with any sort of vision here. I don't see... Okay, never mind. There is a ward for the Dire there. And we do have a bit of a rotation here from the Ogre Magi and Skywrath Mage with that haste rune. So they do smell something coming here, and I think they see it as they walk under that ward, so they are going to go ahead and retreat. I think they saw it under that ward right there. So they are going to go into hiding, which is definitely smart, which will let Centaur Warrunner kind of get a little bit of farm. Taking a look at the items. Everyone's on boots, which is always a good sign. This middle lane is being pushed by P-Frog on the Viper. Death Prophet is going to rotate back in and say, not my lane, son. I apologize for that. I should never say stuff like that ever again. But yeah, the item progressions are looking okay. Looking like Viper's going to be going for a standard mech. Phantom Assassin probably going to be going for maybe a Vlad's, potentially, or even a... I do hear the Death Prophet ulti being used. But yeah, either going for like a Vlad's or maybe a Mask of Madness of some sort. And we do have everyone rotating into the mid lane. Or starting to rotate that way. And Field Studies needs to be careful here. He, not sure if he knows that he might soon have Kappa Crusaders collapsing on him. And no, they won't. That was a bad prediction on my part. So taking a look at the farm, I'd like to see this CS number be a little bit higher from Death Prophet. Viper is definitely commanding this mid lane so far. I think they need to maybe call for a rotation, and it looks like Death Prophet's going to get ganked mid again, as that ultimate will be used in Concussive Bolt, Arcane, Ancient Seal, and the Arcane Bolt will just take down Death Prophet yet again. So... yeah, I really feel like they need to be rotating mid, especially... Oh no, this Sand King doesn't have Epicenter ready to go yet.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But yeah, rotating 2 or 3 heroes to get a kill in the mid, or heck, even trying to get a kill on this Weaver, which might actually be quite difficult at this stage. Maybe rotating and killing this Centaur would be worth it. Because I really seems like Kappa Crusaders, their movement around the map has been much better. They've been smoking up and ganking, and yeah, just moving with purpose. Whereas it really feels like OGHC, with the exception of this Sand King, have really been quite rigid in their lanes. You know, are quite not scared to leave their lanes, but maybe just aren't sure what to do at this stage of the game, which I'd be the same way. We do have Bunny rotating into the mid lane to help out the Death Prophet, and this tower will get pushed from Kappa Crusaders. PA does go into hiding in the little gank spot down through here. And Viper is going to go ahead and start to rotate down,
Dire's middle tower is
looking
under
for a
attack.
kill, but I don't think he's going to find anyone. So I think they might be looking for the Phantom
Dire's
Assassin,
middle tower
potentially.
is under attack.
So PA does come out of hiding, and Silencer and Death Prophet are on the run, knowing that they have 4 heroes coming mid, potentially. So they need to be careful here, or they might get blown up by a 2v4 type situation. And it looks like they will. Okay. They might just be waiting for that Death Prophet ulti to wear off. They do pop the Stampede. Weaver does get a kill on the Bristleback. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and pop the mech and push in the mid lane here. Poison Sting will go down, or Poison Attack, whatever it is. And Yeah, Death Prophet is going to go ahead and back off. Well, Silencer does get just chopped down by Centaur, Warrunner, and the Viper. And I think Death Prophet will be okay. And yeah, I would think that once... It's kind of a shame to see... Well, they do have TP scrolls. I would think once you start to see your Tier 1 tower being pushed back like that, you'd want to have everyone kind of rotate in and help out and defend this attack. But, you know, I'm also a spectator and I can just kind of take a look at whatever I want, so it's quite easy to criticize when you have a bird's eye view. So PA will be going for that Helm of the Dominator. And she is recovering quite nicely, I do have to say. 60 CS and 18 denies, so they're still in this. But, yeah, Weaver's farm has started to accelerate a little bit as well. Does have that Maelstrom, which the Geminate attack can now... I believe it was changed so they can now proc Maelstrom or something like that, or I forget how it worked. So, kind of opened up some of the item builds for Weaver quite a bit. So, and oh no, poor Physmo on the Bristleback. He will get engaged upon by that Fire Blast, and the ulti from the Skywrath Mage and all the nukes from Skywrath Mage will take him down as well. I feel like Skywrath Mage can just throw out so many nukes all at once that I can't say him fast enough, which is fine. Oh, poor Physmo. He's gonna go play kickball through a shot. And oh no, this teleport in from Sand King. What an error that was. He does pop the Sandstorm to try and get out of here. We do have the War Stomp doing a little bit of damage, but the Viper will do one last right click to take him down. Bit of a miscommunication there. I'm not sure if everyone was planning on rotating mid, and then once the tower died, they were like, no, 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 stop, and maybe Viper didn't, I'm not sure. But we do have a rotation into the top lane. Death Prophet is trying to go ahead and push out this top Tier 1 tower. We do have Silencer and Death Prophet retreating from the Ogre Magi and the Viper. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I feel like... I kind of feel like they just lost this mid lane so hard. And they didn't have any rotations to help Death Prophet recover at all. So I feel like coming out of the laning phase, Kappa Crusaders are just so far ahead, and yeah, the graphs definitely show that. They're already about 10,000 gold ahead. Though the Centaur Warrunner might go down. Nope, he does have his Blink Dagger. And Weaver does get the kill on Bunny's Silencer down here by the Tier 1 tower. And sadly, that's going to be another tower down. So I think if I'm OGHC right now, I think you start buying smokes and try and do some smoke ganks. Maybe go mid, you know, try and pull out some, you know, like this Skywrath Mage who's just sitting solo, or, you know, just try and see what you can do. Try and get pickoffs, and you can always push the towers too to try and get some recovery gold. So we do have this 3-man gank squad hanging out kind of in the Radiant Dire, or the Radiant Ancient area. Though we really haven't seen PA join too many of these fights. And she is really hurting for XP as well. So Weaver is currently sitting at level 13, so Weaver's going to be a huge, huge problem for OGHC. And we do have Centaur engaging upon the Death Prophet, and a double edge will take her down, no problem. We do have a Viper Strike being used on Silencer. Silencer will go down quite easily thanks to one last right click from Viper. And they're just going to go ahead and push the high ground here. I'm not sure if that's the wisest thing, but a nice double edge is going to do a ton of damage as Centaur Warrunner just get those last couple right clicks to take down PA. Evasion's not going to matter today. And, oh, and poor Sand King. We do have Sand King trying to go in with a nice Burrow Strike, but will get counter-initiated thanks to that Skywrath Mage ultimate. And Weaver does get a nice double kill on the Sand King and the Bristleback. And, yeah, that's going to be an 0 for 4 exchange in favor of Kappa Crusaders. Which, that is a huge, huge loss for OGHC, unfortunately. And that's going to be a tier 2 tower for Kappa Crusaders. As somebody who plays on a team who frequently loses the laning phase, I know how devastating it can be to go into the mid game to try and make up what you lost in the laning phase, and it's just no good. So nice little bit of harassment to try and force Kappa Crusaders out of here. And I gotta think Kappa's gotta be thinking of doing Roshan. We haven't seen Roshan yet, but he's up. And this Weaver just doesn't care. He feels safe enough to just farm up Radiant's jungle, no problem. Which he can generally get away no problem thanks to the Sakuchi and the ultimate. And oh, they don't know he's there either, so I think he's gonna go ahead and get away. And Centaur Warrunner does have this Invis rune, so I wonder if he's going to have the balls to go in here. And he does! Oh my goodness. So I think they're going to get the kill on PA here. No, they don't! A Curse of the Silent and a Last Word, and everyone just starts unloading on Centaur, and he says, not today. Viper is going to go ahead and use that ulti on Bristleback, and he does turn his back, and it will slow him down and do quite a bit of damage while the Viper does get away. The Silencer ultimate was popped, I think probably defensively, just in case anyone else was around, but looks like they're going to go ahead and be okay. It is nice to see these wards still being bought and put up on the side of OGHC. Not sure who's been buying the wards. It looks like it's probably been Sand King. So after seeing all these smoke ganks on the side of Kappa Crusaders, I'm definitely going to start considering doing some smoke ganks to gank mid. I do like that. And we have Viper getting pretty close to his Ag Scepter. He needs about another 400 gold. I believe Weaver's getting close to Lincoln's Sphere. Let's see, does Lincoln's have a recipe? I believe it does. He's about another... Okay, he's still got a ways to go. He's got about another 1,500 gold or so. Centaur Warrunner sitting happy with Tranquil Boots and a Blink Dagger. And they see an opportunity to initiate on PA here. PA is going to go ahead and blink out, but Viper does get that last Poison Sting on him. Centaur Warrunner does go down from the Silencer Glaives. It's called Poison Attack. Yeah, Poison Attack. And a nice little Burrow Strike from Errant Pixel. Makes Viper feel a little uneasy about pushing that far forward. Taking a look at the items, it's looking like Death Prophet might be going for an Ag Scepter potentially, maybe, question mark, or probably a Bloodstone. I do like the Bloodstone. I am still a little sick, I apologize. PA does have that Yasha. Looking like she's going to be going for Sanj and Yasha. Busby on the Weaver, still working on that Lincoln Sphere, or what I assume to be that Lincoln Sphere. And Eris next sitting on that Casual Point Booster, probably going to be working towards an Ag Scepter, and Viper also working towards the Ag Scepter as well. And this mid lane is going to push, so we'll see if there's anyone on the side of OGHC who comes in to defend that. And it looks like Sand King might be defending that, as we do have a little engagement forming up here in the Radiant jungle. And Weaver was able to use the is it called Time Lapse? Yeah, Time Lapse to go ahead and get away. He was somewhat caught out, but he is just so hard to kill. Especially because I don't see any... Okay, never mind. We do have Dust on the side of OGHC, which is good. You always like to see your supports buying those, which Bristleback is not a support. He's an offlaner. And we do hear the Viper Strike being used. I'm not sure who it was used on. Must have been an illusion that he used that on. But he does have his Ag Scepter complete, so it doesn't even matter. Bristleback taking a ton of damage, and that's going to be 2 blown up on the side of OGHC. Another Viper Strike is going to go down on the Death Prophet, and the Double Edge almost takes down the Centaur Warrunner, and that's going to be Phantom Assassin blown up thanks to the Ogre Magi. A Concussive Shot and an Ancient Seal is going to take down Sand King with a one last Viper Strike at P-Frogs. From the hands of P-Frogs Viper. I feel like I can't even talk tonight. I'm stumbling over my words. But that's okay. This is just a warm-up match for me.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And I gotta think this is just the beginning of the end here. And unfortunately, it's starting to look like that. And yeah, I think it just comes down to the lanes. Like, I think Kappa Crusaders just got way more out of the lanes than OGHC did. And yeah, they just weren't really able to recover from it. It's looking like Centaur Warrunner is going to go ahead and start building into that Hood of Defiance and potentially Pipe of Insight. Help defend against some of that double-edged damage. Which he did get a kill and then practically fed himself by putting himself so low on HP that he was able to be picked off with just one right click, so that's unfortunate. Weaver does finish off that Lincoln Sphere to make him even more elusive. Not entirely sure it's actually a good Lincoln Sphere game. I don't think Weaver did get the kill on the Silencer there. He is taking quite a bit of damage from the towers and from the Death Prophet right clicks. They are going to go ahead and blink in, and he does activate the Sakuchi and the Stampede defensively to try and get out of here. And he is going to go ahead and re-engage as the Swarm is deployed from Weaver. And the Skywrath Mage ultimate will just blow up Death Prophet. But yeah, as I was saying, I don't think the Lincoln Sphere is... I don't think this is a great match for Lincoln Sphere. It is nice for the Silencer Last Word, but I don't know. Outside of the Blink from PA and the Viscous Nasal Goo from Bristleback, I don't think there's a ton of like directly cast spells that make a ton of sense to block. Maybe Burrow Strike? What about Burrow Strike? Is Burrow Strike one of those? Does that block Burrow Strike? I'm not sure. Taking a look at the net worth. I should have changed that over earlier. Sorry about that. We do have Weaver sitting pretty on top of the charts with Viper and PA sitting at number 3. Gannis is doing okay given the situation that he's in. Actually, I would say Gannis is doing really well given the situation that he is and where the game state is. And then just look at these supports and off lanes from Kappa. They're just so far ahead of the rest of OGHC. And a Skywrath Mage is going to pick off a Bristleback who ventured a little bit too far into the jungle. Do you guys want a GG now that I got my power treads? I feel the same way, Fizmo. And Fizmo, I believe, is playing from a gaming cafe in LA. He's such a dedicated gamer that he got stuck in LA traffic on the way home, and he wasn't going to be able to make it home in time for the game to start. So he just pulled off at a gaming cafe and said, alright, we'll play WLDL matches on my commute home. So hats off to Fizmo for being a player. And Crusader satisfied enough to go ahead and take Roshan down. And that's going to be, I believe that's 2 Ag Scepters on the side of Kappa Crusaders. Yeah, Viper and Ogre both have their Ag Scepters, which that just makes, that Unrefined Fire Blast can just be such a huge pain in the butt. Especially when it starts multicasting. Ugh. Woof. And they do try and attempt to pop the Lincolns on the Weaver, so that nice last word will go ahead and go on through. But I'm not sure there's really too much that OGHC can do to stop this last push from Kappa Crusaders. And both teams are just kind of waiting for one team to kind of give them an opening to initiate. It is a little scary to go ahead and start pushing high ground here if you're not entirely sure what's up there. We do have the global silence popped, but not really going to do too much. We do have the last word being used on the Viper, and Crusade take that as an opportunity to go ahead and push up. The Exorcism is deployed. It's actually doing a ton of damage. Viper is going to go down, and Centaur Warrun is going to go down, and that's the Aegis popped on Viper. So, but we do have Weaver just going to town, killing the Silencer and the Phantom Assassin. Viper will get the last right clicks on Bristleback with the Viper Strike, and that just leaves Death Prophet alive. And it does go to show how much damage this Exorcism does do from Death Prophet. It did take down the Centaur, and who got the kill on the Weaver? Bristleback did. Okay, not too bad. P-Frog getting quite low on mana, so he is going to go ahead and deploy the Mechanism. And they will go ahead and be just fine. And that's going to be a tier 3 tower dead pretty soon here, I think, maybe. Death Prophet is sitting at about 3k gold. She needs to go ahead and buy something. Not sure what that something is. Probably a Yule Scepter. Skywrath Mage does pick up the Mystic Staff to go ahead and help him get off a better Arcane Bolt. I always forget that it converts extra intellect into damage, or converts his intellect into extra damage, or whatever. However you want to phrase it. Weaver is sitting on a Demon Edge. Looks like he might be going for a... Dang it. And the draft overlay is still up. There we go. Sorry about the draft banner, guys. I always forget to turn it off. It's a new thing, so my apologies on that. One-man show here, so it's tough to fix. But yeah. Went ahead and fixed that, so sorry about that. And, yeah, OGHC just kind of turtling up in their base. Not too much else they can do. Death Prophet does go ahead and finish up the Bloodstone, so that's a nice little pickup for Death Prophet. And it looks like Kappa are just going to go ahead and farm up a little bit more. Maybe they don't necessarily feel like they can break high ground quite effectively yet. Even though I think they should feel just fine doing that. But maybe the last couple engagements haven't been necessarily the best for them pushing high ground. So just trying to put that last nail in the coffin, I guess. And Centaur's going to go ahead and pick up a Sange. And, oh yes, of course, the Monkey King bar for Weaver. Just to ensure that those hits go through the PA blur. That's 50% evasion at max level. That's so nice. And Death Prophet's going to be caught out here. They do pop the Ancient Seal and Concussive Shot, but not going to do too much as the Global Silence does go down defensively. And here we go. It looks like Kappa Crusaders are going to go ahead and try to break the high ground here. Looks like they might go for the good old Weaver split push. Is that a thing? I don't think it's a thing. Oh, and a nice Bloodlust multicast on Viper. Should go ahead and start pushing. So, yeah, this lane's going to go ahead and start. Looks like they might have a bit of an opportunity here in the bottom lane. Sorry, my phones are blowing up like crazy. Let's go ahead and mute some of that. And in the bottom lane, Viper's going to go ahead and pop the BKB and just go ahead and break up here. No big deal. Stampede is going to be used as Death Prophet goes down. Double Edge doing a ton of work against the Silencer. And a nice Sand King Epicenter is going to take down the Weaver, but he does buy back almost immediately. Was that Viper that bought back? Yeah, Weaver bought back. Excuse me. So yeah, tons of buybacks coming out clear across the board here. Sand King and Death Prophet both buying back. Sand King is going to go down almost immediately yet again. Weaver doing a ton of right-click damage thanks to that BKB and Maelstrom. And yeah, those are going to be racks for Kappa. So I think they might even be able to get a second set of racks here. And, oh, Centaur Warrunner getting so low. I thought they were going to be able to get a kill on him. As Kappa do go ahead and decide to back out. Oh, but no! Ogre Magi does start teleporting out, but they do get a nice Blink Strike in there to go ahead and take him down. Phantom Strike, excuse me. Blink Strike is, that's Richard. Silencer does have that 37-minute Force Staff, which is always a great item for him. To everyone on Twitch, thanks for the heads up about the draft banner. I always forget to take that off. I'll remember it next game. I'm sorry. I add new shiny things to the cast and I just go and screw it all up. It's to be expected, I suppose. Maybe once we start making money doing this, I'll remember. Ha! Ah, yes. And these are very fun wards. They're little fishies. I have not seen these. What are these? Ward fish. Very good. No Sand King cosmetics. No Bristleback cosmetics. No PA cosmetics. Bunny has some, of course. This will be a nice bit of farm here for Bristle, or what's her beat? Phantom Assassin. Not sure who wins in terms of hats. Busby has quite a bit for the Weaver. Don't see any on Booker. There are some on Skyrath Mage. I think in terms of hats, both teams kind of break even, I think. Still love this Death Prophet set, though. You can tell things are getting boring when I'm talking to, start talking about hats. So that's going to be a Heaven's Halberd for the Centaur War Runner, and the Kappa Crusaders are going to go ahead and take down Roshan yet again. And I kind of feel like they could just fight right now, and they could fight without Roshan and just finish the game up, I think. And there's just so much damage coming out between the Viper, who now has a BK or a MKB of his own, and also Weaver, who still has that MKB, of course. And yeah, they're just gonna go ahead and go in here. And that Viper strike, you can launch that from pretty far away. Good lord, what's the range on that? I don't know. I can't tell. It doesn't say. I'm not gonna worry about it. So yeah, the Global Silence is going to be used as the Exorcism is popped. And Viper is taking quite a bit of Exorcism damage here, and Sand King yet again just getting blown up by that Skywrath Mage ulti. Viper is taking quite a bit of damage as Weaver does get a kill on the PA, so that's going to be 3 down on the side of OGHC. Ogre Magi is getting quite low. That's going to be Aegis popped on the Ogre Magi, who I had no idea he had the Aegis. And I kind of think that's going to be GG. Yep, there it is. GG being called from OGHC. So, yeah, they just had a rough laning phase and just really weren't able to recover from that. So, GG to both teams. Nice to see some good sportsmanship from both sides, and OGHC fought to the bitter end there. And, yep, we're going to take a 15-minute break. And we will start the next match at 9:50.